Welcome back to our weekly podcast, Leadership in a Nutshell. Presenting to you today is Muhammad Khairuddin. As always, we make sure to bring a new guest each week with a different topic that could benefit you. Last week, we talked about entrepreneurship and what is the mindset that entrepreneurs have متالة ضمرة. This week, though, we are digging deeper, going into the beginnings in most startups, and one of the most major aspects, which is pitching your idea. This is a make or break moment for any person with an idea they want to bring to life. Pitching involves many things, including confidence and storytelling, and we will be going into those from someone who knows them the best, Mr. Ziad Barouni. Ziad, welcome to our podcast and thank you for accepting this invitation.
Thank you very much for your invitation. Good evening, everyone who's listening now. And it's really a pleasure to be with you.
Thank you, Ziad, for being with us today on the podcast. How was your day today?
It was good. It was
Yeah,
another productive day.
yeah,
Ramadan
nice.
is the best month in the year where you can have all kind of
Mm-hmm.
energy during the day.
Yeah,
And in addition to the fact that you stay out of the kitchen, especially at such difficult times where most of us are still at home.
yep, absolutely. How was your iftar today? Did you get
Good.
a
It
good
was
meal?
good. It was good. Yeah.
Thankfully.
Ah,
Thankfully, I said.
yeah. And
Yep.
what about you?
Actually, I had a really good meal. I had a productive day today. I had some tasks to do for school. So it was productive, yeah. Also productive for
Huh?
me. I like to work in Ramadan, actually.
I,
As you said, the mind is not
well,
worried. It's always your soul has nothing to think about. So it's productive to work in it. I agree.
absolutely,
Yep.
absolutely. I couldn't agree more with you.
Yeah. So, to dig deeper into our topic today, all personally, for someone who is always busy, as you, I assumed my message would just sit in your messages unread. To be honest, not gonna lie. But thankfully, you accepted my message and you accepted my invitation to discuss with us today your secret or your recipe towards pitching and storytelling, and of course, within it comes confidence and confidence speaking. So thank you for that. Yep. So to dig deeper, or to start with our
You're
main topic
welcome.
for
Again,
today,
it's my absolute pleasure.
Mhm. Yep, the pleasure is ours. Yeah. So to start with the topic, which is pitching, I want to hear from you. Oh my God. Yep, I think we are live again. So as I was saying, when the stream went down, if you could tell us in simple words, what do you think pitching is?
In just a few words,
In
pitching
simple words,
is
let's say, yeah.
the ability, yeah, yeah, yeah. It's the ability
Mm-hmm.
um, to hook people within a few seconds. It's the
Mm-hmm.
ability to capture audience attention
Mm-hmm.
in like 5 to 10 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
That's what pitching is all about.
Yeah.
After that, once you capture their attention, they will be listening to you, and this is
Mm-hmm.
where you will be able to tell your story.
Yeah.
So that's the secret of pitching. It's um, it's the same strategy. I used to be an athlete, and my specialty was 100 meters,
Mm-hmm.
which is sprint, they
Yeah.
call it in athleticism.
Yeah.
And it's all about the first few seconds. If you have a good start, then chances that you will win the race is big. If
Mm-hmm.
you don't have really an excellent start, even if you try harder later on,
Mm-hmm.
it will be hard. It's exactly the same with
Yeah.
pitching. It's all about the first few seconds.
Yeah. I like this. Let's say, what's the word? You making a relation between what you wanted to do and pitching, because Uh, as you said, it's the first 10 seconds, let's say, in the business that, yeah, as you said, the catching moments, those 10 seconds. Yep. So, want to dig deeper into the importance of pitching. What do you think is really the importance of pitching to someone as of leaders and as of entrepreneurs at the same time?
But before I answer this question, it's very important to emphasize that
Hmm.
pitching is not about a startup project. It's not about being on stage or being in front of a few judges where you will be talking about your project. Pitching is something that we constantly and actively do, whether we are networking with people, whether we are on a one-to-one occasion where we're speaking to someone. It's how we can get their attention.
Yeah.
um, so, can you can you ask your question again?
Yeah, I was asking, what is the importance of pitching in terms or in references with leaders
Yeah,
and entrepreneurs? Yeah.
yeah. That's why I mentioned that. So it's very very important to master the art of pitching, to be able like to create interest when you talk to people, and it's not about yourself. It's about for them. And one of the most important parts of pitching is to be ready when
Yeah.
you go to meet people, whether you go to meet them to sell your products or networking events or whether you are on stage. It's all about the audience. It's not about you. So the more you are prepared as someone who knows how to start at the beginning know, and know exactly what the audience wants, this is where you will be able to
Yeah.
capture their attention. So preparation is the most important part of pitching. And if you're not prepared, that means you won't be able to sell. So it's a very, very important skill for any entrepreneur, for any leader, for any even employees,
Hmm.
team members.
Yeah.
If they're not able to explain themselves well, quickly, which is again mean quickly means pitching themselves quickly,
Hmm.
um, they won't find a listening ear. People won't give them enough
Yeah.
attention. So it is one of the most important skill to any person, whatever his job is
Hmm.
about.
Yep, yep. I couldn't agree more. I just want to ask a question about pitching. Is it
And that
uh,
includes, yeah, that includes students too, Muhammad,
mhm,
because if you are a student and you don't know how to
yeah.
pitch yourself, then you might find yourself in trouble as well.
Of course, yeah, especially when giving presentations, when giving projects, when presenting projects. Yes, I agree. You must put your point straightforward and try to convince, which actually gets me to my question that I wanted to ask you. Is pitching actually about convincing, or is it about catching attention, or is it a mixture of both?
It's a mixture of both, definitely, because it's capturing attention.
Hmm.
And by capturing attention, your second step is to sell, which means they will be convinced with what you are selling.
Hmm.
They will say eventually, hey, can you give me some? Can you give me your business card?
Hmm.
What's this thing cost? How
Yeah.
can I buy it? How can I get it? Or if you're a student and you're presenting your project to your professors, then
Hmm.
you'll get the full mark. And that's exactly what you're selling. You're selling a project to get marks. And so they will give you the marks in
Yeah.
exchange of this brilliant presentation that you presented. So definitely a combination uh,
Both.
uh, selling and of winning the audience.
Yep, yep, yep. Jumping onto another topic, which is somewhat related, or to big extent actually related, which is leadership and how leaders try to convince. In what way do you think good leadership skills can affect your pitching skills? Because leadership is all about convincing the others of your viewpoint. What do you think of this matter?
Unfortunately, Muhammad, I lost you again. The voice wasn't
Hmm.
clear, so
Can you hear me
I
now?
would really appreciate it if you can repeat the
Yes,
question.
sure. Yeah, I was saying that leadership is also about convincing your point, sharing your point, and trying to get attention. So in what way do you think good leadership skills can affect your pitching skills?
So leadership is about leading a team, and by leading a team, you need to listen to them.
Mm-hmm.
And by listening, you will understand what exactly the problem is all about, what exactly the team is looking forward from you, what are you expecting from you. So listening is a skill which that you must
Mm-hmm.
master to be a good pitcher.
Yeah.
So by listening to your team, you'll understand what's going on there,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then
yeah.
you will be able to help them solve whatever is going.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Another thing. Uh, um, Understanding
Mm-hmm.
people is the secret of a good story, is the secret of a
Yep,
good
yep, yep.
of a brilliant leader.
Mm-hmm.
And understanding them means they are seeking answers, they're seeking like things that will trigger their emotion.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
by knowing all these details about them, you will be able to talk to them, to talk to their hearts,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what leadership is all about.
Yes, of
I
course.
mean, big part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you know nothing about your team, if you know nothing about your audience, about your people, you will be speaking in a total different frequency what is expected or what is
Mm-hmm.
being expected by people
Yes,
or by
yes.
your team or employees.
Yeah, yeah, I totally agree. Well, elaborating on that, to start off with pitching, of course, you have to have an idea. What are the aspects of this idea? Should it be solving a problem, finding a solution for something, finding a new solution for a problem? What do you think this idea should tackle?
Again, Muhammad, the voice is not clear, so I would really appreciate it if you can repeat the
I'm
question.
having some issues with connectivity, but I was saying that in order to pitch, you must have an idea, right?
You must have something to sell, and every single one of us have something to sell, which is yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the idea, kind of, because when you are talking to people, when you are pitching to people, you are actually selling yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Um, uh, Whatever the circumstances, at the end of the day, you are selling
Yeah.
yourself to get the good marks as a student, to for the professor like to like your presentation, to be convinced with it. If you are an entrepreneur with a brilliant idea and you're not able to sell it to
Mm-hmm.
investors, they won't buy it. If you have a
Yeah.
great product or service and you don't know how to pitch it correctly, which means to
Mm-hmm.
customers, they will also not be interested.
Yeah.
So the idea is you. At the end of the day, you are the idea itself.
Yeah.
And that's what makes pitching a very, very important skill, an important one, and even kind of a special one that we actually get born with it as a skill as
Yeah.
kids. We are very good pitchers, but with time this skill gets a bit like not good enough as we used to be as kids. But
Mm-hmm.
that's not an excuse. Every single person must be a good pitcher at least.
Yeah, I wanted actually to tackle that later, but since you mentioned it, do you think that we as humans we are born with pitching skills, or do you think we develop it as we grow up and have more experience and etc.?
They're very again, and this is something also it's about pitching. If you
Yeah.
pitched one time and you fail to sell yourself, which means you fail to sell the product or you fail to get investment, that's not the end of the world. good pitches, they need to keep doing it again and again and again for two reasons. One, to get these skills that they were born with it again, to reactivate it again, and
Yeah.
to be better at it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because the more you pitch, the
Yeah.
more you will be better in this skill.
Of
If
course.
you
Yeah.
just go to the best workshops, the best videos you watch, or best training, that's not good enough. You need
Mm-hmm.
to do it all over again and again and again to make it better, and eventually you will be
Yeah.
able to be a good seller.
So
Again,
practicing
if
is
you
the
notice,
key.
I keep associating the word selling.
Idea that tackles a very essential problem. What is next? What should I do personally?
The very first step is to go and learn what exactly your audience need.
Mm-hmm.
What's in it for them? What exactly the things that will trigger them emotionally?
Mm-hmm.
How are you going to establish an emotional link with them?
Yeah.
Why would they pay for this product?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, once you have all these information,
Mm-hmm.
then you sit with yourself, you prepare well, okay, and
Mm-hmm.
use these information to your advantage
Mm-hmm.
at the very beginning to create an emotional link with them, some sort of a very short story that will relate to. And once they relate to, they will start listening. Once they start listening, you must explain what the problem is all about so
Mm-hmm.
that when you later on talk about solution, they will buy it. Because if you don't explain the problem well, no matter how good is your service, your idea, your solution in a format of app, platform, whatever it is, they won't buy it because they have no clue what this thing solve, and
Yeah.
that means what this thing is all about and why they would just buy it. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
but if you be able to touch their pain, okay,
Yeah.
they will be buying it without even a second thought.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So basically about making it beneficial to the other side.
It's making not making it beneficial. It's solving the problem, and
Mm-hmm.
solving the problem will make it beneficial for
Yeah.
them.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, if we
Yeah.
put it into this context, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Then we should wait, right? We should be patient. We should also try. What if we said we couldn't convince the other side? Patience here is key, isn't it? What should someone do in order to get back, let's say, his chances? What do you think?
So let's say you want to meet a client or you pitched your idea to a certain investors and they weren't convinced.
Mm-hmm.
And so you decided to do it again.
Yeah.
At the very beginning, you need to make sure you figure out why you weren't able to sell it, why they weren't convinced.
Mm-hmm.
Is it because of just simply because of pitching technique? The answer here on 90%, if it's not more of the cases, is it's all about the product, okay?
Mm-hmm.
It's either able to explain the problem and how your product is solving it,
Mm-hmm.
or um it is your way of telling the story. You just went into technical details, too much technical details,
Mm-hmm.
and that means that the audience lost you.
Yeah.
So let me give an example. So if the
Yes, sure.
audience here, if the investors are of technical backgrounds, you
Mm-hmm.
must speak to them on a technical level.
Yeah.
But if the investors here, as an entrepreneur here and a startup founder,
Mm-hmm.
if the investors are not technical, are not of technical background, let's say they are of financial background only,
Mm-hmm.
okay, then you must explain everything in a very simple way. Once they buy this simplicity, or this simplicity, it
Yeah.
will assure that they will buy your thing. They will have you will have their acceptance. And later on, they will bring the right editor to talk about technical stuff.
Yeah.
So again, it's all about the audience. You must never, never, never go and pitch without knowing who exactly you are going to pitch to.
Yeah.
You
So
must
basically
at least
touching.
ask who is going to be there today.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. So it's about actually about touching their emotions and their needs, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And every single person of us is different. So you must ask about them. You must go, for example, first figure out their names, their positions. This way, it will gives you at least their background, their
Yes.
position, or the company that they work for. Then, by using their names, you can simply go to LinkedIn and read about their profile, or you might ask your friends, "Do you know this person? What exactly the thing that they are excited about?" And this is where you go and prepare a pitch that will appeal to them. Saying that, Muhammad, pitching is not one template. First, it's not a template. Okay, you must start working with it from scratch every single time, and on every occasion you must prepare kind of a different pitch deck or pitch
Yeah.
that in terms of words verbally that you're going to say depends on the audience. Either you build it from scratch or at least you change few things that will appeal to the audience and that will fill the information that you were able to gather from different resources after you learned about who exactly
Yeah.
your audience.
Cool, cool. I just wanted to ask if you can please share that one time where you had hard time actually convincing the other side. Can you recall that pitch or that situation? Maybe at the starters?
Well, one of the, let's say, special kind of special, strange, you name it,
Yeah.
pitches that I had a chance to be part of. I was nominated and selected to pitch at the 4 year from now competition in Shanghai. And to my surprise, all the audience were mostly from China. And my product was about content, and it was in Arabic and English. So how exactly I'm going to hook them? What exactly will be their need? How I'm going to create interest here? And before a day before my pitch, I sit with them. I talk to several Chinese businessmen there, and I decided to build my pitch from scratch. And I started about the value of Arabic language. I mentioned that Arabic language is the fourth language in the world, that there are half a billion people, almost 5 million people speak language in the, not only in the Arab world, in the North Africa and the Middle East, but
Yeah.
across the world. So you're not investing in Arabic language, you are missing a lot in terms of sales. And this is where everybody started listening. They were so interested, okay, in knowing what my product is all about,
Yeah.
because there are 500 million users that they are missing, and I'm the solution. And it went really well.
Yeah.
But it was really, really a strange bit because during the 3 minutes where I had the chance to be on stage, I was looking at their faces. I wasn't able if they were pleased, if they were convinced, if they were happy or not. I was only able to get my answer. I went back to my booth, and
Yeah.
people start getting, people start coming to my booth and start asking more about my business.
Yes, so basically getting back to the point where you must know your audience, know their wants, and knowing their needs in order to sell, as you refer to it, your pitch, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah,
Always
yeah.
the first step is to ask about who's the audience, what exactly they need. And you go, and my advice is to build your pitch from scratch every single time, because this is where your percentage of success will increase.
Mm-hmm.
If you just have one template and you simply follow it, okay, and you keep just pushing it again and again and again and again, your probability of success will become lower and lower and lower,
Mm-hmm.
especially if you base this template on a random success at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes. So knowing, let's say if it didn't work one time, then there is a problem, right? You must do it from scratch.
Again, meaning the probability of not of a pitch not working from during a certain
Mm-hmm.
occasion, um, most probably it's your fault. Most probably it's your problem.
Mm-hmm.
And if you just wire your brain in a way where it is always your problem,
Mm-hmm.
this is another key success for another winning pitch in the future. But if you just keep telling yourself that, oh, they weren't listening, they weren't interested, they like my friend more than I am, they are biased, etc., etc., etc.,
Yeah.
etc., and you never just think that it might be your problem. You might be the problem. You might,
Mm-hmm.
because you missed out with the explanation of the problem of the idea,
Yeah.
the problem of the thing that you are solving. You missed information like what exactly will make them excited. So
Mm-hmm.
the moment you look at every single thing happening around you as your problem,
Yeah.
this is where you will come up with
Mm-hmm.
ideas and the creative solutions that will enable you
Yeah.
to have the perfect pitch that will enable you to be the perfect, I will use a different word here, the perfect storyteller,
Mm-hmm.
because
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think it's about storytelling actually.
Mm. Really? So you think storytelling is really important in a pitch?
Pitching is about storytelling. If you're not a good storyteller, it's hard to win a pitch
Mm-hmm.
because you need to build an emotional link, and the emotional link can only be built with a short story that will trigger emotions. Once you
Mm-hmm.
trigger emotions, you will be able to get people's attention.
Yeah.
And once you get people's attention, you need to tell them why this happened because of that certain effect, certain thing happened.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and because of this certain thing that took place, another event
Mm-hmm.
happened during the course of the story. And because of all this thing, one day you thought of this as a problem, and because you're able to look at the problem
Mm-hmm.
correctly, at the end, finally, you come up with this solution.
Yeah.
And what exactly I mentioned now
Mm-hmm.
is the perfect recipe for a story, and that means pitching is storytelling, and the pitch is a story.
Yeah. So why I asked you this question because in front of me here I gathered some tips that I saw around the internet and I wanted to discuss them with you. And one point was skip storytelling. That's why I asked you to elaborate on that because personally, I think storytelling is really important. As you mentioned, it builds emotional links. It builds, let's say, a timeline for the problem. It shows where the problem started, where it ended, and what are the solutions. Right? Yeah.
So imagine yourself in a networking event
Mm-hmm.
and you meet someone
Mm-hmm.
the very first time.
Yeah.
If you just go and present yourself, hey, I'm Ziad, this is my business card,
Mm-hmm.
and this is where you skip the storytelling part, chances that this person will respond are extremely low.
Mm-hmm.
But if you go and say hi and you just try to engage with certain topics that you were able to capture, or maybe you were prepared and you know exactly
Mm-hmm.
this person, what exactly the topics that will excite them, and so you go meet her or meet him,
Yeah.
and you start talking about an angle about this thing that make them excited, and then eventually you don't need to even mention your name, they will ask you,
Yeah.
we didn't we were we introduced before? Do I know you? Can you tell me what's your name? Yeah, my name is Ziad. What exactly you do? Well, I have a startup and I sell this and this and this.
Mhm.
Oh, that's exciting. Can I have your business card? But why they ask about your business card here? Because there was something that triggered the emotion. They like
Yeah.
the fact that you have like some sort of a similar interest.
Mhm.
You started with a story, and that creates some sort of a rapport, some sort of an emotional link, some sort of a human connection
Mhm.
that enabled you eventually to sell yourself.
Yeah.
Okay. But if you skip stories, it is extremely hard. Probably they will accept uh, taking your business card, which you offered it to them,
Mhm.
but then your business card will have one destination,
Yeah.
which is unfortunately it will be, you know what I'm referring to. It will
Yeah.
be, let's say, the recycle bin.
Yes. So basically, it's about not making your pitching session mechanical. It's making it more of a stream flow, having a soul, let's say. Storytelling is very essential, yes. What about I have a tip in front of me that says make your first line your bottom line. What do you think about this yet? So basically making the first 30 to 30 seconds to 1 minute, making them convincing the other side. Should you make these 30 seconds the convincing part, or should you take it part by part by introduction, having an introduction, having the problem, the solution, basically having your time in your pitch? What do you think?
So here we're talking about a startup pitch, and if I
Mhm.
understand you correctly, you're talking. If I start talking about a certain topic at the beginning, I must kind of remind the audience about it at the end. Is that correct?
No, actually, what I was saying that do you prefer, or from your personal experience, do you see that exposing the idea and actually convincing the people in front of you in the first 30 seconds is more important than taking your time for, let's say, 3 minutes for convincing? Yes, can you hear me, Ziad?
Yeah, I can hear you. So you're asking me if I am an investor or if I am part of the audience, what would be better? Have someone in front of me and try to sell me himself, or I mean his product or service in 30 seconds, or just
Or taking his
have more
time in
time.
his session?
It depends.
Mhm.
If I've been asked to come to listen to a 3 minute speech, I would be more than happy to listen to it fully,
Mhm.
as long as the person who's currently pitching at this very moment
Mhm.
um, is respecting my time. And by respecting my time means that this person is well prepared. He's
Yeah.
not like simply went back at his office and
Mhm.
before just a day put some slides on PowerPoint and he or she memorized a few words. And
Yeah.
then when he is in front of me, he just click play.
Mhm.
Well, that's a disaster. That's a disaster.
Yeah.
Okay, you need to prepare at least a week ahead. Okay, and by preparations, you must learn about me as the audience.
Yeah, of
What
course.
exactly will excite me? What exactly my interest? How exactly you're going to simplify some things? How exactly you're going to avoid talking about some other things because I can't understand?
Mm-hmm.
It's all about me as the audience, and it's never about me as the one who's telling the story or the
Yeah, yeah,
picture.
yeah.
So whether it is it, saying that 30 seconds, unless it is within a certain type of competition where you only have 30 seconds and you need to quickly talk about your business and win the investors'
Mm-hmm.
appeal or trust, convince them. My advice on this part is not to go technical,
Yeah.
but if you are part of networking events or meeting with people,
Mm-hmm.
the 30 seconds should be about human connection, should be about making a new friend, making or at least get the acceptance of
Building the
someone.
rapport.
Uh, yeah,
Building the rapport.
exactly. And you
Mm-hmm.
should not talk about your business unless this person wants to learn more about what your business is
Yeah.
all about. So the 30 seconds I would invest it in building rapport, in exchanging contacts, and they will happen naturally.
Yeah.
If I just go to someone stranger and just start doing business, probably out of courtesy, I would be listening. But there will be no rapport at all. And even if you give me your contact information and you ask me to save your number, it's a useless efforts.
Mm-hmm. Can you tell us about some tips how to build a good rapport with your audience? Like, what can you start? Should you, I don't know, say something personal, have a personal story? Should you say a joke? What exactly should I do in order to build a rapport with, with the audience watching me?
Two things. The very first one is
I'm not
before
sure. Yep. Can you please repeat
you
that?
go in front of the be prepared by. So before you go on the stage,
Mm-hmm.
you must be prepared.
Yeah.
And by saying be prepared, like we're talking like a week before, okay, you learn and you go through all the things that we mentioned earlier.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So
You
to
mentioned.
they just
Mm-hmm.
do it. Okay, just be yourself.
Yeah.
Don't try to be a robot. Whether you're on stage or whether you are meeting people, the key to win people's heart and
Mm-hmm.
which means sell is to be yourself. That's your most unique value proposition.
Mm-hmm.
Is that by default you are unique, but you're hiding your uniqueness. What
Yeah.
you should do is to show your uniqueness, and by showing your uniqueness, you are being yourself.
So basically, being spontaneous, being able to improvise without having, let's say, you memorizing your pitch. So knowing what your pitch is about really well, but not memorizing it, right?
Spontaneous. Exactly. Spontaneous with preparation. So I would be careful with the word spontaneous. Just be yourself. Don't just be, I mean, like try to mimic someone else,
Yeah.
okay? Or try to be like a serious, or you
Mm-hmm.
come up with a suit. For example, if you're someone always wearing casual clothes, okay? And for the sake of the pitch, you come up with a suit. Why? This is not yourself. So, and since I mentioned it, it's not only about what you're saying out of your mouth. It's your voice. It's your face gestures. It's your clothes. It's the way you're standing in front of people.
Mm-hmm.
All these details counts, and all these details,
Mm-hmm.
you must be yourself in the context of them as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes. So, that was actually it from my side, but we have a question here from Farah in our stream. She said, thank you so much for your note, Ziad. My question is, how do you navigate a situation where you do not know the specific answer of a question after your pitch? This may happen a lot when you don't know an answer to a question that's been asked for you. What do you do? Or have you been put in such situations? And what did you do?
Well, my answer to this, and it's something that I went through first, thank you for your question, is to say in a very simple words, where you are totally comfortable with this answer, is to say, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you have a partner and your partner, for example, I mean, if the question happened to be about technical details and your
Yeah.
partner is the one who's guru and knows about technical details, you say the following: um, I don't know the answer, but my partner is the one who's taking care about everything technical.
Yeah.
Can I ask him to answer this question?
Mm-hmm.
And by that, I mean, you are showing a beautiful image of being yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need to come with an answer. And
Mm-hmm.
this will be very much appreciated and respected because it shows confidence. And that
Yeah.
means a lot to the audience.
So it's actually better to say I don't know than saying something.
So the simple answer is I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because people will respect you when you say that.
Mm-hmm.
Or
And at the end of the
you can say
day,
it in a different way. You can say, "Well, still we didn't look at this situation." Yeah,
yeah. So having a smart answer or a
I'm
smart
listening,
way
Hammond.
of saying no. Yes, Ziad?
Yes, exactly. A smart
Mm-hmm.
answer, not a deceiving one or some smart answer that will look that, that will show you that you are trying to get away with it.
Uh-huh.
Just
Yeah.
say, well, at the moment we didn't experience such a thing, and we will look into it in the
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, an honest answer that, that it's showing that you don't know. It
yeah.
is
Mm-hmm.
fine. People will respect that. Okay, and it's never a wrong thing to say I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yes. But don't you think this may be perceived as you don't know enough about the topic you're talking about?
If it is like a very, very important question that it is in the core of what you are doing, and you generally don't know, and again, my recommendation is to say I don't know, but
Mm-hmm.
it is your problem if you're not able to answer a genuine question because, and what I mean by it's your problem, that means you missed the part where you need to be prepared. And that's why when you're asking about two tips, preparation and be yourself. So if you prepared and for some reason there is something that you missed, it is okay to be yourself and say, I don't know. But if
Yeah.
you're not prepared and you are only being yourself, but you say don't know, then things
Mm-hmm.
might go into the wrong direction.
Mm-hmm.
Because simply, let's say you are pitching your startup and someone asks you, how exactly you're going to make money? And then you answer, I don't know. And this is a disaster.
Yeah.
If you are an entrepreneur and you are a startup, you are a founder, and you have a product and you don't know how you're going to monetize this product, then you're not prepared at all. It's too early, you are on stage.
Mm-hmm.
So, and again, it's whose problem here? It is your problem.
Yeah, it's preparation basically. Yes.
Absolutely, absolutely. Preparation is the key.
Mm-hmm. Well, Ziad, I have to say this has been an absolute pleasure. I think for youth in this day and age, everyone is thinking about starting their own business or having that breakthrough moment, right? But sometimes, even if you have the best idea, if you don't know how to sell it to people, it simply won't make the cut. I think that the discussion we had today helped a lot of people, and I can see that from the
No
comments.
doubt. Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah. So thank you for joining us today. And before you go, we would love it if you gave us a piece of advice you want to stick with our listeners for the day. Just a small advice in pitching, let's say generally, in convincing and making your idea sound good, let's say, to the listener.
Thank you, Muhammad. I'm trying to think of something different, kind, not that will be really a nice step to end this podcast. When you are on stage or when you meet someone the very first time,
Mhm.
make sure to smile. Don't be a robot,
Yeah.
okay? Just smile, okay? If your smile look like a laugh, it is also fine.
Mhm.
Because the moment you smile, or even with a big kind of a smile, okay, people will love it. People will feel comfortable,
Mhm.
and they will be unconsciously listening to you. They will start listening to you. And the second thing is to breathe. Okay, once you're on stage, Or even if you're going to meet someone to sell your product, or you are in a networking event and you are just going straight to this person that you want to meet badly, breathe, okay? Breathe,
Yeah.
okay, relax, then be yourself, go to this person or go onto the stage, breathe again, smile, and then start. Use these tips always, and you will always be a winner. I can guarantee you that.
Mhm. Thank you, Ziad. And as he said, breathe and smile. And of course, always take the recipe from the master. So thank you so much, Ziad.